Hey guys, welcome back to another Destiny video. Today we're looking at the optimal perk rolls for the Longbow and LDR snipers, as well as the rolls I have on these two snipers. I considered covering every single sniper I have in this video, but that would drag on forever, so if you want me to showcase more of my snipers, let me know in the comments section. For the perk guide, I've split the perks into 5 tiers. We have the S tier being the very best perks that can actually save a roll on their own. You can get some really average perks, but having 1 or 2 S tier perks will definitely save it. We have A tier perks, which are very good perks. We have B tier perks, which are solid perks, but just like a bit of X factor to be an A tier perk. Then we have C tier perks, which are once again good perks, but these perks are typically very situational, so you don't get much use out of them. And lastly, we have the D tier perks, which are completely useless or will even make your weapon worse. Basically, the perks you want to avoid at all costs. Before we start, I do want to say, take these tier ratings with a grain of salt. Personally, there are perks I value so highly that if I get that perk, it doesn't matter if some of the other perks are completely terrible. For example, I value short gaze very highly, and long gear SLR 10 is a very good scope too. You could give me almost any sniper with those scopes, and I would use them over a sniper with god tier perks but none of set scopes. So take these ratings lightly. They're merely guiding, and if you have a sniper you think you'll like, give it a try, even if I gave the perks on it a low rating. So starting with the scopes you want to look out for, short gaze is of course widely accepted to be the best sniper scope in the game. It has the lowest zoom factor available at 4.9x, and it doesn't affect your aim assist, hence why it's gotten an S tier rating. Longbow SLR 10 has slightly more zoom than short gaze at 5.2x, but also gives you +3 aim assist. And ambush has a 4.9 zoom value, just like the short gaze, but it also reduces your aim assist by 25, making short gaze the stronger option of the two. But you can't really go wrong with any of these scopes. All of them are very solid. If you don't get any of these scopes, the Taxes and Hawkeye scopes are also usable, but they're definitely not as good as short gaze, long view, and ambush. Moving on to the first perk slot, there is no S tier perks, but for the A tier perks available here, there is Army of One and Grenadier. Neither of these perks are spectacular by any means, but they provide some great utility by allowing you to have your abilities up much more frequently. Army of One especially works very well on a sniper as it requires unassisted kills, but it also charges your grenade and melee at the same time. If you land your headshots, you'll get your abilities up very fast. The only B tier perk in this column is Underdog, improving handling when your health is low. Initially I didn't care much for this perk, but I recently tried it out on an event horizon and it actually comes in handy surprisingly often. For C tier perks we have Life Support, Last Resort, Partial Refund, and Eye of the Storm. All of these perks actually provide a great bonus, but it's very rare to see them proc. Triple Tap is also a C tier perk for PvP, as it's pretty difficult to land 3 rapid precision headshots, but for PvE it is of course the perk to have. And lastly, Guerrilla Fighter is of course a D tier perk. It really does nothing for you. You need to crouch down behind cover and ADS to proc it, and how often do you do that? I know I literally never do this when playing PvP. Moving on to the middle column, we have Quick Draw and Snapshot as the only S tier perks, for obvious reasons. Quick Draw is the slightly better perk overall, giving you a small boost to ADS speed along with very fast handling, whereas Snapshot only gives you a faster ADS speed. But with Snapshot, your aim down sight speed is definitely faster than it is with Quick Draw, making it ideal for Blade Dancers and Warlocks with the Ophidian aspects. For A tier perks, you want to look out for Rifled Barrel, Perfect Balance, Small Bow, and Injection Bow. Essentially any increase to range or stability that doesn't come with a penalty to the other stat. Injection Mold of course does come at the cost of some range, but it's worth it due to the increase to handling speed that the perk also provides. Handlaid Stock and Reinforced Barrel are the B tier perks available. Handlaid Stock and Reinforced provide some great boosts to stability and range respectively, but both achieve this by shaving off the other stat, something you want to avoid, hence why they're only B tier. And for C tier perks we have Armor Piercing Rounds and Casket Mag. Armor Piercing Rounds are very situational, but I like them personally as they allow you to get collaterals, which is a lot of fun but also very rare even with Armor Piercing Rounds. And Casket Mag is below average in PvP, but just like Triple Tap, it's the perk to have in PvE. And lastly, the D tier perks in this column are Skip Rounds and Explosive Rounds along with Oiled Frame and Speed Reload. The first 3 perks have more drawbacks than strengths, and the bonus from Speed Reload is so small you won't even notice it. In the final perk slot you pretty much can't go wrong, all of the perks are quite solid. The A tier perks here are Outlaw, Hot Swap, and Mulligan, as they give some great bonuses that proc very frequently. Unflinching is also a tier 1 perk in my opinion, as I actually find it makes it possible to snipe while under fire in this meta. It doesn't make it as easy as it was before the flinch nerf, but it's still enough for Unflinching to be an A tier perk in my book. For B tier perks we have Firefly and Hidden Hand, Firefly looks incredibly cool, and the extra damage from the explosion will allow you to clean up nearby players with a body shot. It will also occasionally reveal players that are hiding around corners, which is quite nice. And at the very least, it looks super cool. Hidden Hand is a very overrated perk in my opinion. I don't think it gives a big enough increase to aim assist to make a significant difference. But that said, an increase to aim assist definitely isn't a bad thing. I just don't think this perk makes a big enough difference to be an A tier perk, and I definitely don't have any problem sniping without it. And lastly, Spray and Play is a C tier perk for PvP, but once again, just like Triple Tap and Casket Mag, this is an A tier perk for PvE activities. If you combine these three, you will get a 7-round mag with an incredibly quick reload, which is amazing for boss DPS in PvE. Personally, my ideal role on these snipers would have short gaze and ambush, army of 1, both snapshot and quick draw, which is possible, and either outlaw or unflinching in the final column. For PvE, Triple Tap, Casket Mag, and Spray and Play is the best possible role. So what perks do I have on my LDRs and my longbows? Let's have a look. So starting with my personal favorite longbow, not necessarily the best one, I have Short Gaze, Partial Refund, Snapshot, and Firefly. Now I have a near identical one that simply has Outlaw instead of Firefly, and since I gave Outlaw a better rating than Firefly, you'd think I prefer the one with Outlaw, right? Well, not really. There's just something so satisfying about seeing that Firefly explosion. And even though I know it doesn't do anything for me most of the time, I just like to see it. It's sort of a weird thing. It doesn't actually make that big of a difference. Outlaw is definitely the better perk, but Firefly just looks cool, man. Other than those two longbows, I also have one with Short Gaze, Eye of the Storm, Snapshot, and Spray and Play. Not the greatest roll overall, but it does have both Short Gaze and Snapshot, which saves it. I have one with Ambush, Grenadier, Quick Draw, and Spray and Play. Another one that also has Ambush with Army of 1, Snapshot, and Outlaw. This is a fantastic roll. I pretty much use this for practice sniping, but all the perks are absolutely amazing. We have A tier perks like Army of 1 and Outlaw with S tier perks like Snapshot, but unfortunately the Ambush scope is just nowhere close to the Short Gaze scope in my opinion. And lastly, I have a longbow with Short Gaze, Life Support, Quick Draw, and Hidden Hand. This is usually my go-to sniper when I'm sniping on a class that does not have Quick Draw built into it. Now moving on to my LDRs, I don't have nearly as many as my longbows as I don't play that much PvE and I don't get that many Vanguard packages. So my first one has Short Gaze, Triple Tap, and Spray and Play with the choice between Small Bow and Hand Laid Stock in the middle column. This is of course a god roll for PvE. It doesn't have Casket Mag in the middle, but that's okay. I still have Triple Tap and Spray and Play, which means I have a 5-round magazine and an incredibly fast reload. And I also have another LDR with Ambush, Last Resort, Snapshot, and Spray and Play. Now Last Resort and Spray and Play are not great perks by any means, but it does have Ambush and Snapshot, which is why I decided to keep it. It's a fun sniper to use now and then when I'm not trying super hard to win. And I do actually have one more LDR on my old Year 1 account. Well, 2 technically. I also have the original vendor roll with Ambush, Clown Cartridge, Armor Piercing Rounds, and Unflinching. But I actually have a Year 2 LDR on that account as well that has Longview SLR 10, Army of 1, Quick Draw, and Hot Swap. An absolute god roll. I wish I had it on my main account, but I don't really get to use it that much because it is on my alternate/old account, which is unfortunate. That's just RNG at its best. I literally opened one Vanguard package over there and got it. So for now, I'm really without a great LDR on my main account. Hopefully I'll get one soon so I can get to use it in Trials of Osiris and whatnot. But luckily I have plenty of great longbows and even 1000 Yard Stairs and Event Horizons, so I'm not complaining. I can't complain about my sniper rolls. As I said, my personal favorite has Short Gaze, Partial Refund, Snapshot, and Outlaw. It's just super fun to use. It's the one you saw me use in my Trials highlights from Bannerfall. And it also serves to prove that even though it doesn't necessarily have the best roll on it of all my longbows, it is the most fun one to use for me, simply because I like Firefly. It looks cool. It's not nearly as practical as Outlaw, but it's fun, and in the end that's what matters. And that got way deeper than it was supposed to be. So anyway, let me know about your guys' LDR and longbow rolls in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, and I will catch you guys on my next video.